I think as you think about designing new systems, there's a few bits of, I guess, that we learned. One, as you said, is context is king, right? The AI is only as good as the context it's provided. And context comes in the form of, what actually happened in the real world. But another kind of context is how does my business actually run, right? So if you look at this concept of what we're calling sales playbooks, so in this case, or it's playbooks generically, in this scenario, it's adapted for sales, right? There's a methodology in every company of how, what is the sales process? And to the extent you could describe it by saying, okay, well, in this situation, we're describing it through the stages that a sale goes through. But within each stage, what are the tasks? What are the things I have to do as a salesperson to move from one stage to the next? And how can AI help me, right? So if I look at sort of let's look at an email step I've got here. I've got a step that says, hey, acknowledge the email for the lead. Here are some best practices. Here are some instructions to the AI of how they should think about this, and an email template to use when it's sending out this acknowledgement email, right? And so just by setting this up, and I set this up across for the various stages, now suddenly the AI has the capability to follow along, right? It's not just naively saying, oh, sales happen this generic way. No, sales now happen in the context of my standard operating procedures. And what's nice is, even though this looks like a fairly, kind of lengthy setup, we actually used AI to generate the setup, right? So we have generate your own playbook, right? By here, I could upload my document that I already have that describes my playbook, and we'll generate these playbook steps on your behalf that you could, tweak it if you need to. And so now that we have this, you can go back to, when we look at opportunities and we dive into an opportunity that we've got here, you'll see these suggestions of what to do. And so, for example, here is, okay, let's notify qualification outcome, right? So here's an email that we should be drafting. This is a test system, so I don't know exactly what we got configured, but at the end of the day, it's able to auto draft an appropriate message using the context of what's happened so far, using the email template and the business practices that you said are important to you. And then importantly, like this email is not a standalone event, right? An email is just part of a long flow that you're having in a sales process. And so it's important to understand that, hey, when we send this email, for instance, I may want to be reminded, let's say if I've got no acknowledgement in the email, no response in some period of time. So I want that escalated. But importantly, after the email is sent, the system tracks the email and decides what to do next. So if there's a response, how do we parse that response into a next set of actions according to the playbook? If there's no response, what do we do? And so there's a key system here, and credit to Mike for building this quickly and professionally for us. This looks like another daunting thing, right? If you think of playbooks as sort of the human version of, hey, how does a process work? Workflows are sort of the AI version or the machine version of the set of rules of what to do. And so this gets very detailed in like, hey, send the first email. After you send that email, we want to decide if there's a response within 24 hours, what we do. If there's no response, what do we do, right? And so this whole workflow, if you will, is all about escalating, a series of email and outreaches to decide whether this is a qualified lead or something that needs to go into kind of a nurture bin because they're non-responsive. And so, and again, this looks sophisticated, but you can build this using AI as opposed to having to wire these boxes one at a time.